this past Friday, I was asked by CEO Chris Stuart for Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices to join him on a network-wide call, basically like a town hall meeting with three amazing agents, one in New York City, one in Philadelphia area, and one in Rhode Island, to talk about what are some practical things that we can do right now in our markets to add value to our clients, and also what are the things that we're excited about when we come out of this. This is going to be a time, it's a little bit of a time for you to hear from some people in other markets and from the CEO for Berkshire Hathaway. I hope this adds value to you. If I can help in any way, let me know.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of More to Know. I got to tell you, I'm so excited. I know there's thousands of people across all of our platforms, our webinar platforms, and our social media platforms, and we just couldn't be more appreciative of the opportunity to be with you all, wherever you are across the world today, and share some perspectives and share some ideas and share some engagement. We're very, very thankful for the opportunity to be a part of this great network, and I've got some great panelists here. And, I just want to start by saying that, we recognize that the focus of today is on our business building activities and on topics related to professional activities. But that doesn't mean that we're not mindful of the very real and serious health crisis that we're all dealing with. And so from all of us here on the panel to you and your families, we hope that you're safe and healthy. And we hope that if you are dealing with anything, that perhaps this next 45 minutes or an hour together might take your mind off of that and get you focused on some of the things related to our profession. And, to that point, I just, something that's really heavy on my heart this morning is that we've lost a couple of agents in our great network to this insidious disease. And I just wanted to, on behalf of all of us, because I know that you would appreciate that wherever you're watching from around the world, just on behalf of all of us, I just wanted to honor these two gentlemen, Ralph Marasco and Rod Powell, from our Omaha company and from our Vail, Colorado company, Colorado Properties and Ambassador Real Estate, Ralph and Rod. I just want to acknowledge just a little moment in silence and just reflect on all the blessings that we have and our opportunity to make an impact, and just have a moment of silence for those two great men. All right, terrific. Well, again, what we want to focus on is being optimistic, perspectives, engagement. We've got an incredible panel of forever agents and forever leaders. And so let's get right to them. Antonia, I'm going to go to you first, because I got to imagine that a lot of people here in the audience are thinking, man, Antonia is sitting in Manhattan, the epicenter of this crazy situation that we're dealing with. So Antonia, please share with our guests, what's it like there on the ground in New York City? Specifically, what are you doing to stay engaged, stay connected, and give us some perspective of some of the deals that you're working on?
Thank you so much, Chris. Yes, it definitely is. We're in times that we've never encountered before here in the city. Everything is shut down, all office buildings, and of course, we're not considered an essential business. So, we're really trying to make the best of this time to shift from in-person meetings, in-person closings, to new territory, which the public does seem to be moving along with time to time with us. There are challenges, but we're using technology just like we are now. We're using Zoom, we're using even FaceTime, WhatsApp, WeChat. This is, while the epicenter is here and everything is closed down, we are routinely, though, transacting with other global people. So I have clients in China, in Europe, so these platforms they were used to using, we're now just encountering more of this, these day-to-day tribulations a bit, like Jimmy and I were discussing earlier, simple matters such as the final walkthrough. How do we address this since none of us are allowed to go do that? Money in escrow has become, as Jimmy was saying too, sort of, we're needing to rely on things like this more. We're also needing to rely more on attorney cooperation because they're very used to, everyone come to the office, everyone has to be present. These are just, it's new times. I think that the reliance on technology and cooperation across sectors will actually result in us all being stronger after this. But the shutdown here is serious. It's a significant crisis. We have, you can't even get food delivery this month here. People are really in crisis. So, we're moving right along as best we can, relying on technology, but we're also, we're very sensitive to the fact that a lot of people are sick. A lot of people do need support in other ways. And I do act as president of my family foundation. So we've been really focusing a lot of effort on how we can help the hospitals and healthcare facilities in the immediate area here in Manhattan, also up to Westchester now, to get the supplies they urgently need because we have so many thousands and thousands of people overwhelming those facilities. So we're busy. We're staying busy.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of busy, I love that Kristyn Nelson there in New Hampshire literally was running back to her house to jump on our call today. Kristyn, share with us what's going on there and what's in terms of activity and some of your things that you're doing with your clients.
Well, today I knew this was a big meeting, so I washed my hair, I straightened it, I run outside, it's pouring rain. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Get to the walkthrough and I have my Lysol wipey and we do our walkthrough. I race home and here I am. So I'm happy to be here. I love it.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Now, Robin, particularly interesting, Robin Gordon with Fox and Roach Realtors there in Philadelphia. So, Robin, I know that, the state of Pennsylvania, it feels like maybe has the most restrictive, work from home order and executive orders and things like that. Just give us a perspective of how you're adjusting and what's going on in your business.
So we're completely at stay at home. Everything's virtual. So we've tried to fit. Our company at Fox and Roach has done an amazing job in coordinating our virtual settlements. So I've recently learned how to do a wet scan and sign Alta statements from my home and get them to the closers. We had a number of settlements this week and they went without a hitch, which was great. There could have been things happening behind the scenes where a wire may not have been received exactly at the right time, or some paperwork wasn't done, but everybody was working together to get the deal closed. So I'm happy to say so far, knock on wood, nothing has not closed yet. But it is a challenge. We're doing virtual showings. I had 2 of them yesterday at our listings, and it actually was fun. What we do is we set up a time, the buyer agent's on the phone, the buyer's on the phone, I'm on the phone, and the owner of the property is walking around with their camera, telling all the things they love about their house. And if they're becoming too verbose or they're not saying the right things, I try and guide them, like, how tall are those ceilings exactly? And what upgrades are in that kitchen? And it's just it's fun because, and then there's questions coming from the buyer that we don't usually see. So it's, if we can just keep these virtual showings happening, if these seller owners will cooperate, we can continue to go forward. Where the challenge is when we have things under contract, we are not allowed to do inspections. We're not allowed to go anywhere. We are home. That's where we are, but we're doing the best virtually. And this Sunday, we have our first virtual open tours. We got our MLS to allow us to put on the MLS, come to your live virtual tour, and I'll be on the call. The sellers, the agent will be on, the owner will be on the call, and we're going to have a forced registration so that we don't have like somebody trying to crash our party.
Right. You don't want any hackers, no cyber criminals coming in there and invading your virtual open house.
Exactly. But we'll capture
So
their
Jimmy,
name.
yeah, I know that. So go ahead and share. We'll share what you're setting up, because I'm sure the audience would love to know.
So we've set it up, but as I said, we're putting it on Bright, which is our MLS. Come to our Zoom meeting from 1 to 1:30 on Sunday, and the buyer has to register their name and email to get into the meeting. This is a test, so we'll see how it goes. But the fact that the MLS is cooperating, and I think it may be flowing into Zillow also, they were also working on that. And we'll see. I mean, while you're at home, search real estate. Could be a great
Right,
thing.
exactly, absolutely. So Jimmy Burgess, they're from Northwest Florida, in one of the most beautiful places in the whole world, in my opinion. Jimmy, just give us an idea of the situation there on the ground and what you're doing from a leadership perspective with our agents and your customers there.
Yeah, so we are considered an essential service in Florida, so we don't have as restrictive as some of the other areas, and we are finding that business is still being done. Kristyn and I were on a call earlier this week, and Kristyn made a good point. She said, the people that are looking and saying there's no business to be done, they're going to find no business to do. There are still people that need to buy, that need to sell, and so what we're trying to do is the number one complaint for realtors has always been communication. So right now, more than ever, we know that our clients, our sphere of influence, and just the general public needs what we have, which is that information. So we're trying to obviously be understanding of what we're facing right now, but we're trying to be that resource in the community. So those calls are pretty simple. Those texts, they're pretty simple. They're just, hey, this is Jimmy with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Just wanted to check with you guys with everything crazy. We've got a lot of out-of-town buyers. Let me just sidebar. We've got a lot of people that are obviously out-of-town owners. And so we just say, so with everything that's going on crazy in the world right now, just wanted to see if there were any questions or any way I can help you about what we're seeing down here at the beach. So we're just giving some people the opportunity to talk. I will say this, the conversations right now, it's hard to have more than 7 to 10 conversations a day because people want to talk. So when we're talking to our past clients, these are 20-minute. We've even had some that were an hour and a half conversations. People just want to know what's going on. What are we seeing? What do we think? For us in our area, we've dealt with hurricanes before. We've dealt with oil spills before. We've dealt with the Great Recession, all of these things. And so we're trying to come from a place of understanding that we don't know when this is going to end, but this too shall pass. And so from that standpoint, what are we doing now to prepare ourselves for when it does pass? How are we a resource to our clients? How are we adding value in a way that the market wants and needs right now that is setting the table? One of our owners, Price Rainer, put it this way. He said, right now, obviously, people can't see as many houses. And really what we're doing in our situation a lot of times is we're building demand. And so when you focus on the understanding that we're building demand, you're preparing for that whenever it comes. You're preparing your business for that. So that's kind of the things we're trying to do is obviously understand that we're in a difficult situation now. There is business to be done and communicate out in a way where we can be helpful and a resource to those people that need it the most.
Yeah, I think that's critical. That's critical. Adding value and communicating. So Kristyn, to that point, share with our audience, what you're doing every day and what your focus is from a business building perspective and some of your activities.
Sure. I'm that type of agent that runs around like a crazy person yelling to everyone how busy I am. And so when I go to these conferences and you say, it's not good to be busy, Kristyn, and then I realize, okay, yeah, you're right. I should just focus on the important money-making activities. So now I'm kind of stuck at home figuring out how do I stay busy. And I'm giving myself tons of challenges and goals to get organized, recreate my business in a way where I'm starting from my clients that I first met in 2012, and I'm doing video bomb emails to them. Nothing to do with business, just checking in. Hi, it's Kristyn. Hope you're doing well. I saw that you got chickens on Facebook. That's super cool. How are they doing? The kids must love them. And then, call me if you need me. So I started going back to 2012 and going to every single client just to make sure they know I'm here for them. A lot I hadn't talked to in a while, and shame on me. So I said, I haven't
Yeah.
talked. I'm so sorry, but I'm glad I'm reaching out now.
I love it. I love it. Well, you're closing that loyalty value void, right? You're taking this as an opportunity to do that. So I think
I
it would
heard
be
you
helpful
when you
too.
told us that.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so maybe it's helpful for some of our audience. When you say I'm giving myself challenges and I'm getting organized, just give us a perspective. Like, is that an exercise that you're doing Sunday evening to say, these are the things that I'm going to get done? Is that a daily thing? How, just give us some actionable guidance on how to keep ourselves organized and challenge ourselves.
Absolutely. I know, Gino, and you say a lot to do your 7 must-dos of the day. So I do that. So every day I'll make sure I have those 7 must-dos. And I'm still continuing to keep up with my current clients, but I gave myself the goal of going back to my first client ever until now to make sure I'm sending every single one of them a video email. And so I'm a paper person, so I have my little chart. I'm writing down everybody's names that I reached out to. I'm keeping track of who the people were that responded back to me. And I'm just kind of giving that goal mindset so that I wake up and I have that experience of, well, I have a lot to do today. And the more busy I am, the more I get done. So I have to keep giving myself projects so that I can fill in the little time with the important things. Yeah,
I love that. Gino talks about the momentum of small wins. These incremental, progress and big mo. I love it. So Antonia, I love what you're doing from a charitable perspective in the community. Just give our audience a perspective of, what is your focus every week in terms of the charitable work that you're doing in the foundation and your work with the healthcare providers, and give them a sense of, because so many of our network members are charitable. I mean, we have such a great network from that perspective. So maybe for those that aren't currently doing something in the community from a charitable standpoint, give them what you're doing so maybe it can spawn some ideas for them, please.
Thank you. Yes, every week we have been receiving shipments, delivering them directly to the hospitals and healthcare centers that need them. It's actually been, interestingly, a way to stay in touch with our clients as well, because they're helping a lot. A lot of our clients, they're in development. They have, just like we do, we have connections to the manufacturing companies that provide these supplies the hospitals need. 3M, for example, whether you're building a new condominium or you're supplying those masks for someone, in the ICU, it's the same masks. So we've been using all of our connections, reaching out to everyone that we know that can build these items from scratch, or that may have them lying around in warehouses, etc., that just don't know how to get them to where they need to go. So we're filling that financial void where we are paying through the foundation for these supplies. And we do have volunteers, thankfully, young, healthy volunteers that are, they're being instrumental in, once shipments come into us, bringing them directly to where they need to go, which has been, that in itself was a bit of a trial, because unfortunately, where you're told to bring large shipments, it's resulting in a lot of theft. So we are not bringing these items to those, they basically have like open centers if you want to make donations of supplies, where to bring them. And the doctors and nurses tell us, oftentimes they're crying, saying those items don't get to us. They get stolen. The public comes and takes them. So we've actually been having our volunteers meet, at discrete locations. All the boxes are covered up. You'd never know what's in there. You'd never know it's hazmat suits and face shields, etc. And it's been tremendous. Every week we have tens of thousands of items going out. It's been,
that's great.
Yes.
And so from the perspective of engaging with your clients, are you communicating this to your clients via social media and leveraging your database to push the information out just to make them aware of what you're doing, or enlisting their help? What is it specifically that you're doing to activate your customers with this?
It's a great question. So yes, Facebook has been fantastic. Instagram, it's interesting too, because throughout all of this, I've also had deals pending and closing, and I'll get, maybe 50 to 100 views. You can see on the back end how many views you're getting. But every time we post to social media about, 5,000 more masks went out today, or, 10,000, whatever we did that day that gets posted, we get over 5,000 views. So the public and most of my audience are past clients or people in my network that, refer business to us. They're in some way related to, whether they're an actual client or a prospect or a referral source, they're related to business. It's just interesting how the public is reacting. Then, because we're reaching out saying, how can we be of service? How can we help in this time of crisis? And they come back to us saying, how can I help?
Right.
It's
That's
been
great.
Really good. Yes.
That's great, Antonia. Well, bravo. Yeah, bravo. Hats off to you and your team for all the work. That's fantastic. I love that. So, Robin, I'm particularly interested in you sharing. I think you mentioned earlier this week when we were talking, you had a lot of activity in terms of some coming soon listings. Can you just share, the perspective that you believe these clients have? Just give the audience a reference point of this coming soon activity that you have, because I think that's very interesting given the circumstances.
We have, in the past week, we put on 5 coming soon listings. In coming soon in our market in the MLS, you're really not supposed to show the property during coming soon, which is something I think they're gonna need to change that, because I think that these properties should go live with no days running on the market until this government thing is lifted, because we need to get them marketed as widely and as easily as possible given all these challenges. So, 2 of these listings came off coming soon last week and now are live. So I had a couple showings on them yesterday. And last week we had 2 virtual showings, and I actually resulted in 2 sales. One was very close to asking, and one was like within 99% of asking. So even in this, they were new listings, so they hadn't been sitting for a while. And I do the pricing in our group, and my husband does the marketing. So it's really important to try and price these things right. And it might be at this point to even price it a little lower, but I'm just, trying to really price them right. And so I had 2 showings yesterday. It is slowing down a little bit. We're still, it's this at-home thing it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it's inevitable that it'll have some impact. So I'm imagining for some of our audience, Robin, that they might be sitting there with some similar situations with prospective sellers. And I'm just curious, can you share any part of the conversations that you're having with these sellers? Because I'm sure a lot of them are wondering, do I just wait? Do I go now? What do I do? Can you give us any of your, mindset or experience in that regard?
Well, I had 3 sellers say, you know what, let's take it temporarily off the market. But by doing that, at that time, everything goes away. All the pictures, any data, you're temporarily off, because Zillow wasn't integrating, just saying it's temporarily off, you were gone. So that didn't make any sense at all. So I've convinced all these sellers that want to go temporarily off to come on coming soon for a short time. And as I said, a couple of them have gone live this week, and we're trying this Sunday virtual open house. But and then I had a discussion yesterday with a very, very large home, which right now I have another category in our company is quiet, where it's just quiet within our company. And we're talking about in the middle of April, getting back together and seeing if it makes sense for him to come on coming soon. So at least people can see pictures. And then if somebody asks for a showing, we'll flip it over to active. This is a really, really big listing. So it only takes one.
Yeah. that's an important piece, right? To Jimmy and Kristyn's comments earlier, you know, people's situations are so different. And, you know, some people, regardless of the circumstances, you know, there's motivating influences that, that require us, you know. And so, Jimmy, I'd love to hear, you know, some of your, you know, coaching and leadership that you're providing to your agents in terms of leveraging the technology and video and the nature of, you know, how you would encourage our audience here to take advantage of video and communication in this current market environment.
And for everybody listening, you have to follow Jimmy. Everything he says, just listen
Yes.
to.
Listen to Jimmy.
Very, very good. Listen to Jimmy.
I will tell you this, Chris. There, you know, we were joking about this yesterday when we were on here. I don't know when I became like the old guy, you know, that's got like 25 years experience. You know what I mean? I just don't know when that happened. And I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were telling me, and we were talking about everything. And I was telling them, I said, listen, I've been through the Great Recession, through the oil spill, through hurricanes, through all these things. And they said, is that what happened to your hair? I was like, come on, you know, why would I bring that up? But yes, that may very well be. So I'll tell you this, Chris, right now, more than ever, the excuse of I don't know how to do that is done. Literally, we're in a time where you can go to YouTube right now, and I don't care what it is, where you can go to YouTube and say, how do I, whatever it is, and there's gonna be 1,000 people tell you exactly how to do that. So the idea that we're at a place where we're gonna have to make some adjustments, and video has never been more important than now. There's no doubt about that. I will say this, one of the things that's pretty interesting to me is when they come in and they talk about what's the situation with everything that we're doing right now as far as what are the agents that have come through difficult times before? What do they do in these situations? Because I've seen it so many times. What is it that those agents that gain market share that, you know and understand that this is a difficult time, but what do? And there's three things. The first thing they do is they assess their current situation. They understand that the market's changed. They assess what does it look like? What did the market look like 2 weeks ago versus how many properties came on the market this week? What does it look like as far as pending contracts this time versus this time last year? What does it look like as far as new listing inventory? Where are we in that? Once you assess the market and you assess, okay, this is where we're really at, then it's the great agents, they begin to adapt. You know, they understand they need to do more video, so they start doing more video. They understand that they need to do virtual showings, so they begin to learn how to do those virtual showings. They find the sellers that are willing to do these virtual open houses, and they do them. They make these adapt to these.
Yes, scheduling the appointment is critical. You know,
it absolutely is. And you can see, listen, if you're wondering what to do, Robin's a perfect example. There's not a mistake that she's number 5 in the entire network. It's because she doesn't sit here and talk about the things that she can't do. She's talking about ways to do things. And so it's true. Yeah, it's true. So once you begin to assess and adapt, now the biggest thing is once you have a plan and you know what you want to do, accelerate your efforts. It's times like these where literally, I love the Maya Angelou quote. It says, you know, they're not going to remember what you say. They're not going to remember what you do. They're going to remember how you make them feel. And right now, more than ever, people need to see us as someone that has a plan of action, that understands it's a difficult time, but that this will pass. And we have solutions and opportunities for them to move forward, whatever that personal situation is for them. You know, as we were talking about, Chris, really there are people that are trying to figure it out right now. And it's not that we have all the answers, but we have the data and the resources to give them the information where they can make the best decision for themselves. And so by being that resource right now, I promise you, there will be a time where we are going to look back. I know in my case, every single time that I faced adversity in my life, every single time that I came out the other side, that I actually evaluated what it was that happened, and I made adjustments and I changed things in my life, every area of my life, whether that's health, physical, spiritual, mental, or business, every area of my life, when I came out the other side, I was better for having gone through it. Now, this is difficult right now, and it's very hard when you're in the middle of the firestorm to see this, but we're being refined in ways that we wouldn't have otherwise be refined. Our businesses, having the time to set our businesses up in ways, like you talked about, Chris, setting your CRM up, getting it on lock, getting ready for the business that's to come. That's the things that I see agents doing right now that is so critically important and is going to be even more important third, fourth quarter of this year or whenever this passes. So I just believe that it's the time to really assess everything, see where you're at, and then once you figure it out, lean into some new things and do new things, because if you want new results, you're probably going to have to do new things.
Jimmy, my
Yeah,
dad always
yeah.
tells me that there is this shoe company. They sent this guy out to this country to analyze if shoes were needed or they could break into this, new area with their new shoes. Another company sent another guy in the same group. They both come back. One guy says, "There's no one wears shoes. There's no market for it." The other guy comes back and says, "Nobody is wearing shoes." And it's all mental. And so I'll call my dad and be like, "Dad, I don't know what to do." He's like, "Kristyn, nobody is wearing shoes. Figure it out." Like, okay.
I love that. I love
Very
that.
good.
That is fantastic. So Kristyn, so think about from the perspective of some of our great agents around the country, and around the world for that matter. I know a lot of our folks globally are tuned in as well. But think about some of the folks that aren't yet in markets that have been impacted as much as other markets. For those people that might be coming into something that's uncertain and maybe lockdowns, shelter-in-place orders, these sorts of things, what lessons now looking back would you share with some of those people to get prepared? Like what are the things that you wish you knew about this current environment that you knew going into it?
Sure. I had a listing appointment I think it was just 2 weeks ago, and I gave them my pricing strategy, and they're getting ready to go live this week. So we're talking about new numbers, and the numbers are kind of getting a little quieter. Half the buyers are like, "I'm out of here." The other half is like, "Yeah, get out of here. Game on." So I wish in my first listing appointment, I knew to say, "This is where we're at today for your numbers, but every single day it could change." When I'm giving them the new numbers, like, "What the heck? You told us, this." And so I wish I knew that a little bit earlier. So I would just be mindful of those numbers. I would be calling the agents who did go under contract, ask them what their market looked like, how many people were going through for them, so that you can utilize that information for your new listing. I think just to stay engaged, and honestly, I think people that are stuck at home are feeling that anxiety. Be that person who can just be calm. Give them fun ideas. Our family's been doing these challenges where my daughter's in gymnastics. She'll do her little stunts on her mat, and then my husband's been trying to copy it. And so I'll video
that is funny and dangerous at the same time.
I can't believe my husband split. I was like, when did you know how to do that?
Whoa.
So people have been just so engaged with things like that. And I think it's just uplifting, light, fun. And people have been getting back to me doing headstand contests. And it's just been a way to stay in a community on social media while staying light and fun, while also knowing that we're in a really serious time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin, you had something to say on that same question?
I was just, I've been talking about this with my 21-year-old daughter on a walk recently. And we were saying, gee, after being at home for so long, how would you design your dream home? And wouldn't that be a nice thing to have people really start thinking, how would your dream home look? How would your kitchen be bigger? Would your family room be more cozy? Would your master be on the first floor, second floor? What sort of lot would it be? And just to get your dream, you're thinking, you're dreaming of that house. And I know we have to be mindful that we're all going through this horrible thing, but we can still dream a happy dream.
Yeah. I love that.
Something online to get the juices flowing. Maybe give them what my dream house would look like, and say,
there you go. There you go. I love that. I love that. And Antonia, just getting back to some of the deals that are closing or pending there in Manhattan, anything that you would share about what you've learned and how you've adapted to closing these deals that maybe some of our audience who isn't yet in an area impacted as badly, but maybe thinking about, hey, what if it comes to this? How should I be prepared? Anything to share with them?
That's a great question. There are certainly a number of things that I wish I knew before this got so serious. One of them would be at the listing appointment, even if you can just with your iPhone take a video there, take the video. Because what we've been experiencing, is this top-down effect where the management companies of buildings are banning everyone from coming in, not just brokers, but nannies, dog walkers, nobody comes in. So, new listings we've taken, had I known even 2-3 weeks prior to this that, okay, I should, everything's going to be locked down. Like we cannot even get into the listing at all. So I should right now with my iPhone, just walk around, take a video. That would have been great. I would definitely suggest any of you listening that are not in a complete lockdown zone, do that with all of your inventory. Also, in terms of what's pending, so the management companies here have a lot to do with our closing procedures. Right now, all of those companies are fully closed. And co-op board meetings and condo board meetings to vote on the deals they're also not allowed to occur. So I've been suggesting to these boards, do you think you folks could consider, even though it's not typical for your building, could you consider an email vote? Could you consider a Zoom vote? Sort of, yeah, I would recommend, if you're in an area where it hasn't gotten to this level, to just help people in the beginning to familiarize themselves with these other avenues they can take so that getting to the closing table doesn't have as many obstacles. That would be really the advice.
Yeah, that's great, Antonia. Thank you for that. That's wonderful. Jimmy, same question to you. Robin, please go ahead.
Zillow has a feature where the seller with their iPhone, is that correct, can do a video for your listings. I'm just mentioning that. What's that? A 3D video. My marketing director here is telling me. We work on a team.
I always love when I'm talking to Robin, because Michael's somewhere right around giving some input or asking some questions.
Say hi. He's waving.
Hey, give Michael some knuckles for me.
Yes.
I love that. I love that guy. I love that guy. All right, Jimmy, same thing to you, just from a perspective of, mindset, because I think a lot of folks, golly, I just think about all of our great teams in Chicago and Detroit and Louisiana, New Orleans, Los Angeles. My gosh, we have so many great people and companies, and they might be wondering right now, oh my gosh, things could radically change. Maybe some perspectives of lessons learned going into it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. What Antonia had about taking the video yourselves. I'm even sitting here wondering right now if this is not something we'll spin on what Robin's doing, where she's taking and putting the people the videos, asking the sellers to do the video walkthroughs, and then maybe editing it ourselves, and then having a bank of videos available. I know we've looked at this and tried to start preparing some of that for our company, where we're taking homes that have videos and featuring those on our social media more, because as Kristyn mentioned, the watch time and the engagement on social media is through the roof right now. And especially as we know, Facebook's told us that in, next year, they want 90% of their content to be video based. So you're going to get some organic traffic that you wouldn't get normally, and you're probably going to get longer watch times right now. So I would encourage people, just as you said, just make sure you're taking full advantage of any video assets you have right now, as far as getting those out there, because that's what people are looking for. And if we can prepare ourselves in advance for those things, that's what's really going to be helpful for us. We've done, because we are an essential service, we are doing a lot of FaceTime virtual showings right now. And we were doing some of that obviously before, but it's obviously ramped up now. We also had some people that needed to buy. And so they had a list of, the typical list of 7 houses that they might want to see. To mitigate that, what we did is the agent went by, stopped in front of the house, out of her car, videoed the neighborhood around it, the area around it. They narrowed it to 3 houses, saved all of that time, that mitigation of all of that. Then she went back and is going to do video walkthroughs herself before they arrive, so that we're going to start with the first house, the most important house that they feel like is probably, if they were just doing it off video, would be the one they would see. They're going to go in that house. As we know, typically people know which house they really want to buy. They have that understanding when they walk in. This is our place. So we're trying to mitigate some of those showings that way, and video has been tremendous for that.
That is terrific. That is really terrific. Thank you for that. So I want to end on this question, and give everyone an opportunity to answer it. But I think, at least for me personally, I just think every single day about the role and impact that our own personal health and wellness and just spirit has in terms of our ability to positively impact all the people around us. And so I want to ask each of you what you're doing personally to stay sharp, to stay engaged, what routines or disciplines. And while you're thinking about your response, I'll just say that, at least for me, I'm getting up every single day at the same time. And I've got the same routine and ritual every single morning in terms of reviewing my schedule, some meditative time, and even the sequence that I do with my dog and making my coffee. It just, as silly as that sounds, it just creates a confidence in me that's been very, very important. And then I'm getting outside every single day. I mean, unless it's, really bad weather and raining and whatnot, which fortunately here in California, it hasn't been, just to get some level of exercise and stretch and just kind of, get a little bit of fresh air on the face. So that for me has been very, very powerful and helpful with this. And so I'm just going to go around the panel here. So Antonia, share with us what you're doing personally just to stay grounded and stay well yourself.
Well, thankfully, through these platforms like Zoom, all of my fitness classes are still ongoing. It's been terrific. It's different, you're seeing everyone in their home doing their exercise, but every day I've kept up with my exercise routine. Even spiritually, we're worshiping from home. We can't go to mass. That was, that's important to our family. So that was a change, but we're worshiping from home. My husband and I cook together every day now. No more going out to eat. So we're cooking, and we're finding that sort of the central unit has become more highlighted through all of this, finding, enjoyment in the little things. You spend more time even calling your family members or FaceTiming them in other parts of the country or the world. We're trying to stay as healthy as we can, as connected as we can. And, just keep that central focus on family and love, it's all we can really do right now, and keep the faith. Yeah. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Robin.
So I have a routine just like yours. I try and get up at the same time every day. I either do my elliptical or my treadmill for 45 minutes. And I do put the news on at that time because I figure I'm just looking at it just one time. Then,
yeah, right. Plus, it's counterbalancing, right? You got all the good endorphins from the workout, and then it neutralizes the negative from the news.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I just think it's so important, family, and we've set up Zoom calls with our family and dinners. We're going to have a big dinner next week all together and live stream, and it's just so important to stay in touch with your family and your friends. I had a campfire last week with my camp friends. I couldn't stop crying the entire time. It was just so emotional. And because we don't know what's going to happen. And we just have to stay positive, keep going. It's all going to be fine. And we're all going to be healthy. And just having a positive glass half full.
Yes, I love that, Robin. Thank you for sharing. Kristyn.
We have been making a challenge where every single person in the house has to wake up and make their bed. And we've been really impressed because we have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and their bed is made no matter what. And
I love it.
We're leaving it the way they do it. So there's a lot of bumps, but it's okay. So then my husband and I bought indoor shoes. So we bought our indoor sneakers. And you know what? Our backs feel great. We're able to run around the house. So that's been a kind of a new thing to keep our spirits up. We have always been a family that's been quality over quantity. And so now it's kind of reversing for us, which is strange. So we're doing a ton of family games. We're, jumping in on my daughter's gymnastics workout videos on Zoom, and we're trying to do a lot of family things together, outside hikes. It gets hard for sure. I emailed both of my kids' teachers being like, the Nelsons are drowning. We cannot do all this work. And they both set the expectations for us. Like, it's okay. Just do what you can. So we're just trying to set the expectations and take deep breaths and know that this time will come to an end and we'll be back on our busy lives again, and we'll miss each other, I'm sure. So.
Right. Yeah. So take advantage of every moment of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Jimmy.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a change, obviously. I've got 2 daughters that are in college that are home now. I've got a 12-year-old son, and we've got a young man whose family's a military family that is in college, that his family's stuck in Germany. And so he's staying with us during this time. So we got a full house. And so one of the things that we've tried to do, and the first week was like Netflix and eat everything you could find around my house. I was like, this is not going down like this. You know what I mean? And so my wife, which is amazing, my wife was like, well, listen, we're going to put some just family goals up. She's taken a board and put it on the wall. And we've outlined like 100 miles for the week for our family. Now, a bike ride gets a half a mile. We're in an area, thank goodness, where we're spread out where we can go do these things. Running or walking gets, is a full mile. We have number of sit-ups. We have, like 2,000 sit-ups as a group, push-ups, just physical activity.
I love that.
And at the end of the day, you either got to walk up in front of everybody and either do the walk of shame and put some fat zeros, or you got to add to the value for the team. And so it's been a kind of a little bit of a friendly competition while I've got these, these college age kids in my house. And I'm like, good gosh. I mean, so that's been very, I think physically it's where it all starts for us. Physically, if you're not healthy, and if you're, physically, we look in the mirror every morning. It's the first thing we realize, are we getting better or worse? And, and it kind of sets the tone. So we're trying to make sure that we come out of this physically stronger than when we went in. Secondly, obviously for us spiritually is very important for us. Our family has sat down in Bible studies that we, it's been years since we were all together and had a chance to do those things. We've had opportunities to sit down on Sunday instead of being in church and sit down as a group and watch it virtually. We're doing those things. Trying to stay connected outside of the area, also being more active. We're sitting down for family dinners. Y'all, it's been years since we've had the opportunity that somebody wasn't working or somebody didn't have something going on.
Oh, lucky.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I sat down last night, right before I went to bed. I had all 3 of my kids in my bed with me and my wife and just talking. And I sat there when they left and I thought, thank God that I have the opportunity to do this now. Because had it not been for this, and good gosh, we've got a lot of people suffering, but had it not been for this, our families would not be doing these things. We did a family tea time with my brother in North Carolina, my mom and my stepfather in another place at 2:00 on a Tuesday. You know what the odds of that happening a month ago would have been? We just got on FaceTime and just sat down and just talked as a family like we don't do except for Christmas time. So I think, just making this and bringing people together, we're going to have for our company to stay connected while we're apart. We're going to have a happy hour this evening. We've got a virtual bartender, one of the local guys that's been on the beach forever for 21 years. He's going to be just sharing some of the most drinks. We're going to have a Venmo account for him. He's not going to work for 2 months. And so we're going to try to tip him virtually where we can, support somebody in the community. We've got some of our local musicians that are going to play. We're going to just have a time where we're just going to try to stay together, stay connected. And understanding, like Kristyn said, this is going to pass, and there's going to be a time, I believe, that we're going to look back on this family time, not all the rest of this, on this family time, and we're going to look back and wish that we had some more time to do those things. So I just want to make sure that I take full advantage of every opportunity. I'm trying to be mindful of being where I am. You know what I mean? Not being at my house and working on the laptop while everybody's around all the time. I'm trying to be, if I'm out of the house and I'm doing work, I'm trying to be there and be present with the agents and the clients and the people that I'm with. And so I think it's just being mindful of that. And And listen, I think we're going to get through this one way or the other. We're either going to come out stronger physically, mentally, spiritually, as in our business, or we're not. And the choice is ours. And a lot of it starts with our mindset, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, on behalf of our audience, I just want to thank all of you. I got to tell you, I'm just so proud and inspired to know you and work with you, and to get a chance to help be a part of sharing your stories and your perspectives with our audience here. It's just awesome, and I thank you for that. And for everyone watching or listening, thank you for your time and attention. Hopefully there was some great perspectives that you can leverage into your business. And one of the things I wrote down this morning during my reflection time is that I want to stay grounded in the reality of what's going on, but very optimistic and inspired by the impact that I can make. And I just challenge every single one of us to adopt a similar perspective that we are the difference makers. We are the light at the end of this for so many people dealing with challenges in our communities, and whether it's the charitable work like Antonia described, or just the energy and the spirit and the love that we can pour into the people around us, we are the difference makers. So thank you to you all. I appreciate you and your leadership in the industry. And until next time, we're going to sign off. Jimmy, did you have anything? Jimmy?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing, Chris. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I am so thankful to have you at the helm right now. Your leadership has been tremendous, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. I appreciate all of the leadership. I appreciate the way that you continue to be focused on our agents and our clients in a way that that is unique. And I just truly believe that you are absolutely a man for a time such as this. So thanks you for all
touching all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. I appreciate you. Have a good weekend.
There we go.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.